Hello, everybody, and welcome to PTZ Optics Live.
Happy Wednesday. We're halfway through the week, and we've got a great show for you today.
All right, so today we are talking all about EasyWorship and how easy it is for pastors and folks out there who are using the EasyWorship software to work with PTZ Optics cameras, do some live streaming, and use some of the new, more advanced features out there that EasyWorship 7 now includes.
Absolutely. You may remember us doing our own little example of some of those features, like displaying lyrics over the screen just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, that's just one awesome feature. But today we're going to talk about 4 ways to work with PTZ Optics cameras. One of the easiest ways is plug in a USB cable right into your computer, and you can bring your camera into EasyWorship. But there's more advanced, awesome workflows that we'll talk about in this webinar.
We're so excited that they have a brand new feature for all you NDI and NDI HX camera owners. They now have NDI and NDI HX in and out. Really excited to dive into that with you guys today.
And also, we're going to talk about how to provide your pastor a customized confidence monitor with the creators of EasyWorship and show you how you can provide your pastors extra confidence during their presentations by showing them what the next slide's going to be, how much time they have left in the service, and a whole bunch of more customizable information.
Finally, we are thrilled to be partnering with EasyWorship as they've been so gracious to offer a 2-year subscription to one lucky giveaway winner. We'll announce that at the end of the show today, so stay tuned.
All right, guys, we're going to play you a quick little video to get you amped up for this webinar, and then we're going to introduce you to the great guys at EasyWorship. Today, we are going to talk about how EasyWorship can be integrated with technology that will help your congregation experience all the power and even more control of EasyWorship 7. We will discuss how you can find the perfect media for your church and share live camera video feeds with scripture, lyrics, and much, much more. PTZ Optics and EasyWorship are here to help answer your questions about the best way to set up visuals inside your church that are sure to inspire. We will take you into a review of 4 easy ways to bring in live cameras into your video production system with easy and exciting new technology that will increase what your church can do on a budget. We will review how you can use EasyWorship's new NDI Input and Output features to create engaging live video presentations and provide your pastor with his own customized confidence monitor so he can stay on track and ahead of the curve. If your church is interested in learning how to incorporate EasyWorship into your live streaming software and share the good word of God online, then this webinar presentation is for you. Don't forget that someone is going to win 2 years of EasyWorship software for their church today. So stick around because you must be watching live to claim your prize. Before we start, just a reminder that this presentation is live. So if you have any questions for the PTZ Optics or EasyWorship team, this is a great chance to get those questions answered while we're all here together. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so we've got an awesome presentation, and I can't wait to introduce you to the great guys over there at EasyWorship. How are you guys doing?
Hello, everyone.
Hey, we're doing great, thanks.
So do you want to introduce yourselves really quickly and tell everybody who you are?
Sure. I'm Jeff Taylor. I'm the founder and owner and also a developer here.
I'm Jared Harris. As you may have seen in some of the other PTZ videos, one of the developers also here at EasyWorship.
It was so nice to meet you guys at the 2018 WFX Show. I was blown away by how quickly you guys have really integrated with the new tech NDI. Let's take a look at our presentation and show the folks at home some of the great new things they can do with EasyWorship.
Sounds great.
So, first of all, we're going to talk about how to use EasyWorship with your live streaming system, but let's start by talking about how to bring in cameras into EasyWorship. I don't know if you guys could maybe start off. Why would you want to bring a camera feed into EasyWorship?
Well, I think the obvious answer is that when the presentation or the pastor's up giving his sermon, he may want to be on screen on a large church so that they can see him, but also be able to show bullet points or relative information to go along with what his message is. So therefore, you can have your screen with the pastor on the screen, and down below him also have some text or messages or images or graphics that are going along with him as he speaks.
Very nice. Yeah, that's one great way. And then another thing that a lot of churches have been doing is showing the band or the choir with lyrics that go along with the songs that they're singing. So we'll talk about all of that today. So 4 ways to connect your PTZOptics camera to EasyWorship, and I'll show you the first one here. So I don't know if you can give me a close-up, Mike, but here is the back of a PTZOptics camera. And the first thing I want to show is look at how many different outputs we have. So we have the ability to live stream directly to EasyWorship over an Ethernet connection. And we'll talk about the new tech NDI. We have the ability to plug just directly in via USB. And then we have an HDMI, and then I'll show one more camera here, an SDI version. And these cameras allow you to take the video inputs in with professional live streaming and video production equipment. So that's an SDI feed there. And so we're going to talk about how to bring all of those feeds into EasyWorship, and then also taking the information out of EasyWorship and bringing it into perhaps your favorite live streaming software, which might be Wirecast, it might be XSplit, it might be vMix, it might be Open Broadcaster software, OBS. So let's take a look here. So plugging in USB couldn't be easier, right?
Absolutely. That's kind of step 1.
That's step 1. Now, you can also bring in an SDI camera. The reason why we love SDI so much is because you can run it 100 feet, 200 feet, no problem, with rock solid connectivity. And then you can convert it to USB using a capture card like we're showing here. Finally, definitely the most advanced and perhaps the easiest to use is NDI. That's a new technology that uses an Ethernet cable to connect to the camera, and you can provide one Ethernet cable to your camera to provide power, camera control, and video directly into EasyWorship. So it's really a game changer, and I just want to show how easy this is. So here's our laptop with EasyWorship. Here's our camera here, our PTZOptics camera via NDI, and literally they're just connected via a single Ethernet cable. So it's cheaper than SDI cable, it's more affordable, and it just makes things a lot easier. Now let's take a look at the feed editor, and I know you guys designed this. Maybe you could tell me a little bit about this. It's such a cool feature.
Yeah, basically, you can come up and set multiple feeds in your product. So if you have 4 or 5 different cameras, you could set them each up as a different feed with different configurations for each one, or you could even set up the same feed twice with a different configuration if you needed to. And then as you set those feeds up, they're available for you to use inside of EasyWorship, so you can crossfade between them, bring them up, use them as backgrounds, use them in themes, do whatever you want to do like that. So you've got kind of a lot of functionality there.
So as you can see here, so that's the feeds, which would be an input, right? A camera input.
This is new for me, so I'm going to try and understand all of it.
Yeah, this was new for me when I first started using EasyWorship as well. But
so each of your camera feeds can have custom settings.
Yes.
Cool. Very nice.
That's correct.
And then there's a drop-down menu here.
Yep, it's on the other slide. So yeah, basically the drop-down menu there lets you select whatever feeds are available. So you could pick up a native NDI feed. You could pick up other camera types. If it's available in Windows, it'll be available there to see. And as you pick your feed there, you can select an icon for that feed as well. And then the available options that are for it, like the resolution or the color type or the frame rate, can be selected as well. Some cameras don't have multiple frame rates and selections, but some do, and that allow you to select it there. And then you can set the aspect ratio up, which is typically going to be the standard aspect ratio of maintained. You don't want to change that. And then you can adjust the volume if necessary. Some cameras have mics and some don't, so you could set that up as well. And it gives you a preview there as well, so you can see what you're looking at, get an idea what's going on. And once you save that feed, it will then be available in EasyWorship to use.
So the feed editor is great. Now the live video output section is really awesome as well. We're going to talk about how to use the NDI output. So traditionally, and what I'm actually using now here, is I have a live output, from EasyWorship directly to a television using an HDMI cable. But what's really awesome is that EasyWorship has integrated the option to have an NDI output. Just the same way like a PTZOptics NDI camera is outputting video that's now available to any computer on your network. Now the video coming from EasyWorship is available to any computer. So if you look at this diagram here, let's say we've got EasyWorship. Maybe it's in, the back of the church, up on the second floor. Like I know a lot of churches have like a pulpit area, and you've got your live streaming computer there. Maybe you've got a couple PTZOptics NDI cameras. They're all connected over the Ethernet. But then you've got your pastor's laptop. Or maybe you've got a confidence monitor in the front of the stage, and that could be hundreds and hundreds of feet away.
Right.
Well, as long as they're connected over Ethernet, you can have them communicate using that NDI output. And have you guys seen any use cases like that so far with churches that have been using the NDI output in EasyWorship?
Well, I would think one example would be EasyWorship could be outputting just text or just lyrics or scripture or whatever it is as an alpha output. And let's say the camera isn't coming into us via NDI or such, and it's going into a mixer. Well, we can just output the text, and it can be merged together by a mixer that's receiving a camera feed or another NDI signal to daisy chain it all together as one final output.
Yeah, and you could use your live output when you send out NDI. That could actually go directly into an NDI capable mixer that has NDI in, and that way you don't have to run a separate cable, HDMI or SDI, to it. And that's a real cool feature. Or you could send it directly to your vMix software and get it mixed there, and then send it back to your live output to your house. So there's a lot of different things you can do with it. The cool part, of course, is that you're sending it over the network as opposed to having to use an HDMI or SDI cable. So, and the alpha channel's baked in. So as Jared was saying, is if you're doing text and you want to do text over video, the text channel or whatever alpha channel you send out is going out NDI with that alpha channel baked in. So whatever receives it will actually interpret the alpha channel, and you get a true chroma key or true 32-bit, color channel instead of just a blue or black channel that's getting, keyed out. So,
and to actually extend that even further, at WFX, we were showing, I don't know if you guys remember, we were showing the new ability in EasyWorship to do alpha videos. So it's a video that has an alpha channel in it, kind of like ProRes, but we use a technology called WebM that allows us to produce a smaller video to give a similar output. So NDI could be used from EasyWorship to output alpha channel video onto your network that can then be mixed later downstream.
Yeah, and we can support other formats that support alpha, like Apple ProRes. But the downside of Apple ProRes is that's an uncompressed format, and it's very, very labor intensive on the computer. And that's why we choose WebM, because it's just like MP4, but it has alpha channel in it. So that's a really nice functionality, really nice feature. So.
Oh. That's so cool. And it's interesting to think about that alpha channel can be transferred over your network, over NDI, which is slightly compressed. It's about 100 to 200 megabit stream on your network. Whereas NDI HX, high efficiency cameras, do not support alpha channel. There's no need for it, right? It's a camera video source. So it's a great way to provide, low latency video over your local area network. Now, the next thing I wanted to show was working with multiple monitors. This is a church here in Pennsylvania, the Coatesville Olivet United Methodist
They could
Church.
certainly benefit from EasyWorship, I believe.
Yeah, I believe that they're actually getting EasyWorship for their church. And you can see here that they have 3 monitors. So one monitor might be the live streaming software, and then monitor 2 would be EasyWorship, and then monitor 3 would be the output of EasyWorship. So one way to look at, now we're talking about bringing EasyWorship into a video production software so that we can live stream it out to Facebook and YouTube. One way would be to just use a desktop capture and bring it in as an input into vMix or Wirecast.
Would that be
or
the
OBS.
Final output of what your live audience is seeing, or just what in-house is seeing?
So this would be what's going out to, Facebook or YouTube or being recorded. But technically, you might, because of low latency and IMAG, you might want to have EasyWorship sending maybe an NDI source to your projectors or your screens. Let me ask you guys about that, because I know you guys are really professionals here. What is it like when you're doing IMAG inside an IMAG stands for image magnification, showing up large images of your pastor or the choir, something where a camera zooming in on something and showing it on a big projector. Do you have any tips for the churches out there that are trying to display, video, large video in their church?
Yeah, I mean, I would just make sure that you've tested your connection, make sure you have a good internet connection, and you're not using it for other stuff at that time. I mean, you got to consider that you're going to be cutting up the bandwidth when you're sending out NDI, and so you want to consider that you have enough bandwidth that you're not going to disturb your live performance, because that's going to be golden. Of course, you don't want people seeing, you know, any issues with that. And I haven't noticed anything. Obviously, if you've got a guy standing on stage, you're going to see a little bit of latency, but frankly, I've seen that with mixers and real, you know, hardware devices as, you know, as well. So I think most people are used to that it's a slight latency, but, you know, you're going to see it. You're just, I mean, if somebody claps their hands or moves their arms, and you're looking at the screen right behind them, you're going to see it, just that hair bit of latency. And that's normal. You know, and most of the time, because of the audio delay, it's not going to be an issue. The audio is going to match up with their mouth because the, you know, the time that audio takes to travel from the speakers to their ears will be slower than, you know, than the visuals. So I think everything, you know, usually works out pretty good.
I would say if you're using an NDI camera HX like you guys have, and your monitors or your projectors are only putting out 720p or in a 480 range, bringing down the resolution on your cameras to match that will also it'll shorten the latency up a little bit, because there's less to compress to put on the network.
Good tip.
That's a great tip. Okay, because I know we get a lot of questions about that. Now, another way to bring in the EasyWorship output, whether you're bringing in a camera with lyrics on top, or you're bringing in a presentation with maybe animated alpha channels and video, a really beautiful presentation, and you want to incorporate that into your live streaming software, another very easy way to do it. Remember, you know, EasyWorship 7 supports NDI in and out. Okay, so we can bring NDI cameras into the software, but you know what we can also do? We can bring the entire mix of EasyWorship over NDI directly into vMix, directly into Wirecast, into XSplit, OBS, a TriCaster. So it really opens up the doors. Livestream Studio is another one. So everything that's going on in EasyWorship. So whether you're, now here's a question for you guys. So hopefully that makes sense. Question for you guys: how many outputs can you have out of EasyWorship? Can you do an NDI feed from EasyWorship into vMix and then also send a feed to a projector? Is that possible?
Yeah, right now, just one feed, which is the output. You can have multiple inputs, but just one output. Okay. And we're going to change that. The new model that we're working towards is kind of this approach where you can select whatever you want. You set up where you want this feed to go. Do you want it to go to so you could physically, not yet, but physically, the idea is I could have one feed going to one monitor, and then I could have a hardwire SDR HDMI going to another monitor, and you could configure that any way you want. That way, you could set it up, whatever your computer's capable of doing, you could set it up. Now, I would say at some point you're going to reach this issue of you're going to run into load on it. So I would say right now, no, we don't. We have the one feed out, but we have multiple feeds in. So we're trying to fix that though. So, and that's a cool feature.
That is a great feature, because I could see, perhaps maybe the latency off of directly out of EasyWorship might be just a hair shorter than going, let's say, into vMix and then back out. Like in my what I've learned, doing different church video production systems, is the less amount of things that you can have in the chain before it gets to the projector or the television. Like if you've got a converter and a switcher and a scaler, and then you're putting in EasyWorship, then you're going NDI into vMix, and then you're sending it to the projector. Well, how can we rethink this? Can we bypass some of that stuff and get directly to that projector as fast as possible? That'll reduce the latency, because every piece of hardware will add a little bit. So looks like we're getting a question here, Tess.
Really just a comment from Tony saying that he uses EasyWorship with PowerPoint on one computer connected to Switch, running vMix NDI capture, sending those outputs to producer, and my cameras are not NDI.
I see that. So that's kind of like what Jarrett was saying, that not everyone might be bringing in their cameras directly into EasyWorship. They might be bringing their cameras into vMix and then taking the EasyWorship output as its own input. Or, as we've shown on our show in the past, you guys should check it out if you haven't seen it, alpha channel video for the lyrics directly back into vMix. So as they're singing the song, or they're it's a presentation, you can have the lyrics show up at the bottom and someone's advancing the lyrics. That's alpha channel video.
That's right. We tried that, right?
We tried it. We sang "Oh Holy Night" live on Facebook and YouTube. It went okay. Tess was a little scared about that, but taking the alpha channel video out of EasyWorship and then bringing it back into something like vMix or Wirecast or XSplit or Livestream Studio works really well as well.
Question from Jason: is this Mac and or PC based? I'm not sure if is it both.
Let's throw it to you guys.
One. We'll find you guys. Don't worry.
There it is. Okay. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, it's PC based. Right now it's PC based. We're working towards a Mac solution with it, and that's obviously taking a lot of time, and we apologize to everybody that's waiting for a Mac version, but
Okay.
All right, so we'll wait on that.
Cool. All right. So what else are we talking about here? Okay, so last one here, last slide. This one is crazy.
Look at
I know
that.
it's a big slide. There's a lot of stuff going on, but I actually have a customer that's doing something similar here. So let's say you've got like 6 cameras on your network, and these are all NDI cameras. They're all coming back into excuse
Bless
me.
you.
Sorry. They're all coming back into your switch. Well, NDI cameras support something called multicast. And what multicast means is that the video sources are available to as many computers on your network as you'd like simultaneously without adding any additional bandwidth. So that means that if, let's say this is an EasyWorship computer, this is a vMix computer, this is an overflow monitor in your, nursery, and this computer here, that's just a computer showing a video feed so that the operator of the joystick can operate it. So I know there's a lot going on here, but let me explain. So let's say vMix wants this camera. No problem. Connects over NDI, goes right over. Let's say that EasyWorship wants this camera. Connects over NDI, no problem. Let's say vMix and EasyWorship both want this camera at the same time. No problem. It uses multicast. So that means all of the sources are available over your network at the same time. So I know this is a little like crazy. There's a lot of networking involved. We have a tutorial video on our website showing how to set this stuff up. Every camera would have a unique IP address. Every camera would have a unique multicast address, and your network switch would have to be multicast enabled. You don't have to have a multicast switch to use NDI, but to use it in this way you would. But the nice thing is now you could have that overflow room, that extra monitor over here, 5 more monitors over here, depending on how large your church is, vMix running and EasyWorship running, and it wouldn't be stacking up bandwidth every single time that you send that feed. It would be leveraging a technology called multicast, which is quite awesome. And that's just, and the last thing here is, for example, like if you did have, let's say 2 EasyWorships running, one could be live streaming in English, and the other could be potentially in Spanish. So if you're one of those churches that's trying to deliver, your sermons in multiple languages out to different Facebook pages or different audiences, these types of things are becoming much easier to do and much more affordable. So let's take it away. Let's answer some questions now while we have the EasyWorship masters over here, and we'll answer some questions for the chat, and then somebody's going to win a 2-year subscription to EasyWorship.
This question's coming in from Kirk. We are bringing cameras into vMix, and we have a separate computer and operator for front of house words with EasyWorship. Can we bring just the lyrics from the EasyWorship computer and overlay on the vMix video output?
Yes. Yes, the answer to that is yes. You basically would send out the lyrics using the NDI feed out, and vMix would bring it in, and that would have the alpha channel baked into it, so it would look really good on top of whatever you're displaying.
All right.
Yeah, we actually did a video on that just a couple weeks ago. So you guys can check that out on our YouTube channel. That's exactly what we did. We took alpha channel lyrics, and the great thing about EasyWorship is you guys already have so many of the songs already prepared. You can just load them right up. You might need to adjust them a little bit, because if you are overlaying lyrics, generally they're kind of at the bottom third. So they're down here. You bring that alpha channel into vMix or whatever software you're using, keep it as an overlay. Now remember, that does require 2 operators, right? So you've got your vMix live streaming person, and then you've got like maybe Tess operating the EasyWorship
or something like that,
and bring the lyrics slide by slide. But that's the amazing thing. Now, if you have multiple volunteers or teams, now we can all work together on our local area network. This is pretty advanced here, but anything is basically possible at this point.
Speaking of that setup you were referring to, Paul, Tony says, but that overflow room monitor is getting the video how? I think that's in reference to what you were speaking about before.
So with the overflow monitors, there's a couple different ways to do it. So NewTek has a free application called the NDI Studio Monitor. It's available for Mac. It's available for PC. It will automatically search and detect any NDI outputs on your network. And so to get video to that overflow room over your local area network, you can try to do it over Wi-Fi, but it's really suggested to have a hardwired Ethernet connection with Cat5e cabling or better. Cat5e is gigabit, so 1,000 megabits of data can go over that cable plugged into a network switch. Now, these network switches here, you got to remember, these network switches really need to be a gigabit network switch. So you can't run this on a 10100 network. Every NDI source is over 100 megabits per second, except for NDI HX. So let me get to this. So this monitor over here essentially will be plugged into a computer that's outputting HDMI. So whether it's an Intel NUC or a Mac Mini or a little laptop that you have laying around, you install that NewTek NDI Studio Monitor software on there. You can choose from any NDI output on your network, whether it's EasyWorship output, a vMix output, or just a camera on your network. You can now show that with video and audio coming out of an overflow room inside your church.
Sorry, I jumped the gun a little bit on this next question from Ben. Does EasyWorship stream directly to my social media outlets for our EasyWorship friends?
Basically, you would want to send that through vMix to get there, or you get another piece of software that we would send the NDI to that software, and then that would send it through to your social media networks through some type of multicast network, something like that. So we don't do it directly. No.
And I think that's really smart because, looking at EasyWorship, it's supposed to be easy, right? It's supposed to be something that a volunteer at a church can pick up, and it can be set up quickly as well. We don't want pastors spending more time on setting up EasyWorship than they do preparing for the sermon, which is sometimes true when you have to use PowerPoint. I don't know if anyone can remember the days when we had transparencies and we were putting them on the projectors, the transparency projectors, and someone would have a sheet of paper kind of hiding the unsung lyrics. Like, thank goodness we have things like EasyWorship today where we can go in and search a database of Bible scriptures and we can find, songs and media that makes it really easy. So yes, it does take a separate piece of software to live stream, but really it's built that way because we want to have one operator for our presentation and then a second computer/operator switching the cameras and doing all the live streaming.
Pat is asking if there's a 4K version available at this time.
We have no limitation on software output. So if it's an NTS standard, really the key is going to be when you're displaying NDI out or NDI in, does it follow an NTSC standard? But we can do any resolution output that is available. So we don't offer any limitations. There's no extra cost on that. You just make sure your hardware can support it.
Great. See if we have any other coming in. There's a few people coming in late saying,
you guys are coming in late.
So you guys will be sure to catch it on demand.
A couple more minutes, guys, because we're going to be doing the giveaway in just a moment. But I wanted to, there's a couple more questions I'm seeing.
Yes. Tom says, we are testing EasyWorship. 2 plans with a one-time buy and a yearly subscription. I'm leaning towards the yearly subscription due to free updates that come out. Any thoughts or advice on that?
I think definitely the subscription is the way that a user would want to go. That's the way that we would like customers to take advantage of our purchase plan. The one-time purchase is a purchase of just that instance of EasyWorship, version 7 per se. But as time goes on and we add features such as MIDI support or the Alpha Channel video, those will be released immediately to subscription users. Those features will not be added to the current version 7 that was initially released. So as being a subscription user, you're going to take advantage of the features as they come and as they're released to the customers. Another big one is that with subscription, they'll be able to take advantage of our support team at any time at no cost. And that can be pretty beneficial to a lot of customers to be able to call us toll free and to take advantage of our support, ask some questions, and help them with any immediate needs they may have.
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen a lot of customers who, you've got the diehards who say, I want to stay with my perpetual license, but most people go subscription. And I can see a time where the perpetual license goes away, where we just grandfather the old people in with an upgrade. But most people really like the subscription model. The entry fee is a lot cheaper. They can try it out for a little bit. They don't like it, they move on. If they love it, then they can stay with it. And the cost is much, much easier on the church. And they can set it up in their budget. So they don't have to go back each year and say, hey, I need another $200 to get an upgrade. It's just baked right into the budget every year. So
the barrier to entry is much easier on the church, especially the smaller churches that don't want to come up or have the money to come up with that initial cost of either $3.99 or $4.99 to get that one-time purchase.
Yeah, and like things like NDI, just think about that. I know I speak to churches every day that are trying to figure out, how are we going to use NDI? How could it work? Well, obviously the guys at EasyWorship have been thinking about this. Forward thinking here, deciding that to bring it not only into your software but also out. And that's a feature that you might have missed out on if you had some of the older versions. If you just have that subscription, these guys are adding new features all the time. So I have to say, it's really great to be able to have the latest and greatest features all the time.
Okay. Are the updates going to be released regularly for subscribers, or what about on an upgrade path for older versions of EasyWorship? It's blending two questions together.
Yeah, typically the perpetual license, we do major releases about every year or a year and a half. Sometimes they take longer. And our cycle in the past has been long because we were moving from a major version. We went from 2009 to EasyWorship 6, which was a huge change. But presently, every time we get a new feature, we release it. And so you could think about every 3 months to have a mini build for subscribers that gets those new features. Whereas these perpetual license guys would have to wait until the end of the year or a year and a half, and they would get a roll-up. And they'd have to pay for that roll-up. So that's why the subscriptions is really a lot nicer. You get the latest features, and bug fixes still come to everybody. But yeah.
Yeah, that is definitely something to keep in mind, though, that the one-time purchase does continue to get any critical bug fix that is needed for EasyWorship. So it's not an abandoned license. It just won't get new features as they're released into the code base.
Right.
Okay. That might cover it for me.
Well, I had a quick question I wanted to ask you guys about just the WFX show in general before we do this giveaway, which is coming up just in a moment here. Just wanted to ask you guys, what you thought about the WFX show, if there was any cool new churches that brought new ideas to you, or if you saw something that you thought was really fun, or maybe there were some awards that were given. I think you guys won an award, right?
Yes, we did. We won the best video software.
The best new product award for presentation, video category.
Congratulations.
Right. Yeah, I mean, thank you. We appreciate the awards. They're great to get when you get them, and sometimes you don't, but that's okay. There's ebbs and flows in the market, but we did good this time, so we appreciate it.
I think for me at WFX, the thing that obviously we appreciated all the conversations we had with you guys, but is the LED walls, seeing the technology and the LED walls grow within the churches and what part we can play in those, even outside of your standard 16:9 or 4:3 setups. Could it be, abstract setups used as video walls on the churches for environmentalists or something like that? That was the interesting part for WFX for me, is seeing how churches are starting to take advantage of the LED video walls, and where that might play into the future of EasyWorship.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, the great thing about going to the trade shows is you get to hear from people. They really stimulate new ideas and stuff. And we have a lot of new ideas from WFX. We come back, we build a plan of what's going to be the next features we're going to put into EasyWorship based upon our feedback from the shows and from emails and things like that. But we've got a lot of good feedback and a lot of good features we want to move forward with that we think everybody will like. So,
but I think as you guys are bringing up with the NDI and NDI cameras, is that NDI, now that we support in and out, has brought EasyWorship from being just an all-inclusive solution to create your content to your projector to being a part of the solutions, whether it's upstream, downstream, or whatever it be, because we can contribute to multiple sources to produce a final output. Right. And that's with our alpha channel text or alpha channel videos, or bringing the NDI feeds such as your cameras in as part of an upstream. So that's the beauty of that, the in and out of of NDI is providing us. Even if it's EasyWorship feeding itself, as we've shown at WFX, that EasyWorship could have one computer that's running lyrics, and EasyWorship could have another computer that's running backgrounds to produce a final output by stacking those two versions of EasyWorship together. So you can have one guy that's controlling dynamic content as your background, and another guy making sure that he's following along with the worship flow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Chris is asking if you have a reseller program.
Yes, we do. And we're moving towards, we have a reseller program now that's the traditional dealer type program, but we're also moving towards an affiliate type program where churches can get involved. So if churches don't want to be a dealer, but they want to give out their affiliate code, they can get credit for that and make that a lot easier on them. So
Very cool.
And you can contact us for information on that. We'll make sure we have a place on the site that allows people to sign up and set up for that kind of program.
Paul, we've got a question for us over here. How are our cameras controlled remotely while being fed to a screen?
Ah, that's a good question. So there's actually so many ways to control a PTZOptics camera. Sometimes, it gets a little crazy, but we zoom into the back of this one here, I can show you. So we have control over Ethernet, and we're hoping maybe you might be able to control these cameras via EasyWorship. We'll see. But you can control the cameras over Ethernet, and that means you can control it with an iOS app, over Wi-Fi. We have a really great Android and iOS app that you can put on your phone or your iPad. You can control it directly from vMix or Wirecast or XSplit. Well, not XSplit, sorry, but Livestream, OBS, there's that plugin. We have our own app for this. You can also control it over serial. So serial joystick controllers, if you have a serial joystick controller out there that you already own, or you'd like to use one of the ones that we support, you can control it over serial. So there's a lot of ways to control the camera remotely. And that's the amazing part for churches, is that it's a very small camera, can be hidden away, non-obtrusive. You don't need a whole platform for a camera operator to be there. And this camera can be controlled. And then there's camera presets. So it can zoom directly into your pastor and either slowly or very quickly move to another position on stage or in your church. So it really makes just having cameras inside the church easier, because if you've got a volunteer or only a couple people helping at your church media area, you can have one person controlling 4, 5, or 6 cameras quite easily. So hopefully that answers the question.
All right, I think it's time for the giveaway, guys.
All right. Well, congratulations on your win of the Solomon Award, gentlemen. Let's get to our giveaway. Do you want to pull the giveaway winner, or do you want me to?
It's up to you.
I got it up here.
Okay, then you can go
All right.
for it.
You have to be watching live in order to win. If you have any final questions, we're still here. Jason Jolliffe from Canada, actually. Air Dry AB Canada. What does AB in Canada stand for?
I don't want to make a guess.
It's not British
embarrass
Columbia.
myself.
Alberta.
Oh, Jason Jolliffe.
Jason Jolliffe.
Is it Jolliffe? We're probably both saying it wrong. I don't know.
Hopefully
That's
we
how
got
I
that
say it.
right.
I tend to make up, the own pronunciation of names that I commonly see on our show and in our content. So, Jason Jolliffe, are you here? Yay, Ben. Got a huddle cam.
So we're
He
giving
loves
about,
Chris, you can't get them all. Okay.
Chris won a camera last week.
Waiting for Jason. Are
Jason
you here?
Jolliffe. All right.
Alberta. Yep, you were
Alberta.
right, Paul.
Okay, so Jason, you got just a couple seconds to answer any more questions. Finally, I forgot to mention for these guys over there that, let's put this back up. I wanted to mention that next year at the WFX Show, our booth is going to be right next to EasyWorship. So that'll be a great chance for us to share NDI sources. We're really hoping to be able to do that and, show some of these more advanced solutions for churches. Oh,
Beautiful
look at
shot,
that.
Michael.
There's the back of the NDI
Let's pick
HX
another one,
camera.
Paul.
We're going to pick another winner here. This is why you got to watch live. Thanks for being here, folks. Someone's going to win. Marcus Wegman from Switzerland. Deichsel,
Wow.
Switzerland.
What time is it in Switzerland?
It's great that we can have a software that can be shipped anywhere in the world quite
Yes,
easily.
that's always very
Because
convenient.
generally our camera giveaways are just in the United States and Canada.
Derek,
is
I'd have
great.
to agree.
Marcus Christoph Wegman. So yeah, we're excited to be right next to you guys at the WFX show next year.
Yes, that's going to be exciting. That's going to be really exciting, especially being able to share the feeds, because then people can kind of the software.
Uh-oh.
I love about NDI is you plug it in, and if it's on your network, you see it. You know, you don't have to fiddle with us.
Yeah. No, we're so excited for that. I'm gonna pick another winner. I can't wait to be right next to EasyWorship because
Master Pi is saying I won. Can you direct message me your email, because that's how we validate, because your Facebook name is different than the name that's signed up for the giveaway. So that's something we'd have
Master
to be
Pi.
sure on. If you could direct message PTZ Optics with the email in which you applied for the giveaway, then that would be validation.
All right. I don't think Master Pi was not called, but I got another winner, Greg Elgie, and I think he is here. I remember him being here. Greg Elgie, are you here? Let's see if Greg's here, and we can wrap this webinar up. It's been so much fun. I'm pretty sure Greg is here. If he's not, we'll call. Oh, Greg is here. Congratulations, Greg. Jared, I'll send you Greg's email so that you can send him.
Make sure
Yep. All right. Well, you guys are the best. Thanks for joining.
Well, thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
We had to really appreciate everything you've done for us and showing us some of the technology you guys have that can be used in EasyWorship.
Well, everybody in the chat was saying how friendly you guys were at the WFX show, so we know that we would want to have you guys on. So we really appreciate you taking the time to hang with us today.
Thank you.
Yes. It's a lot quieter here, so we're not quite caught up in the show fun. So
yeah, it's a lot different being on camera speaking to somebody than being in person speaking with somebody.
That's right.
This is the first time I've done a webinar. I don't know about Jeff, but it's a
fun.
completely different environment for us to
Well, you made it.
Yeah.
Voila.
I don't even Facebook, FaceTime my own family, so this is definitely a new experience.
You'll have to send them the link to this.
Yeah.
Somebody's asking, where's the next WFX? Does anybody know?
Orlando.
It's in Orlando
Yeah.
again. Okay, cool.
And I had something to kind of add to what you had mentioned on the controlling of your cameras just a little bit ago, Paul, is if we were, and Jeff and I have discussed, what it would take to control your cameras from EasyWorship. The beauty, like I said, again, of being able to stack multiple things is you could have one EasyWorship receiving that camera as an end that was just controlling that camera, its PTZ, its pan, its tilt, its zoom, and so forth. And then that camera from EasyWorship is a feed out to another EasyWorship. That way, the guy that's controlling the camera doesn't have to be worrying about the lyrics at the same time or anything else, content-wise that has to follow along with the message. So that's what I meant by being able to stack multiple instances of EasyWorship together to produce that final output. So you can have that guy controlling the background at this point is just an NDI camera feed that's controlling the camera look, and then he's sending that to the guy with the text, and he doesn't have to be concerned with making sure the camera is in the right place, zoomed into the right location, or even the right camera feed is being shown. Because like Jeff had said earlier, is EasyWorship can have multiple camera feeds, so that guy can be switching feeds almost like a mixer and then sending that down to Jeff or another instance of EasyWorship to produce the final presentation.
Yeah, and you could also, something I would love to do is that if you have, let's say, a 3-camera setup at your church, you could set up those cameras up twice with different presets. So when you go from camera 1 to camera 2 to camera 3, you've got one look, but then you go to camera 4, it's actually camera 1 at a different zoom or a different location. And that way, when you click that camera, it's going to zoom to that location, and you could do it fast or slow, depending on the preset you set up, as I understand it. And that way you could set up in the software, say, I want this to jump to that position, or I want you to slowly go to that position. That way you're actually getting some type of more dynamic feel to your service with less cameras, and without the hard work of having somebody on a switcher, and it's kind of a more low budget solution if you don't have a guy dedicated to do that stuff.
Wow, that is great to hear. I love it. I think that's going to be awesome. There is a PTZ camera on its way to you. So I would, that just sounds awesome.
Are you guys going to be at NAB Las Vegas this year?
So we, Jeff and I actually attended NAB last year as just to walk around the show and to see what they had as tourists. Yeah, they would say. And we spoke with NewTek on getting a booth in their developer center, I think is what it's called. But we just weren't sure if it was going to be a good fit for the direct marketing for the church. Whether we may attend there at another date, that's very possible. But as it stands currently, we won't be at the NAB Las Vegas.
Okay.
We do plan on attending a show that is, I think right before WFX, the Experience Conference, which is targeted towards worship leaders and stuff. So we think that might be a great show. And we've looked a little bit into, I've just drawn a blank on another conference that's also in Orlando. Orlando seems to be the big draw for conferences for some reason, the Florida area.
Orlando and Vegas is a big one too.
Yes.
Yeah, and we might be available to, if you guys want us to show up as a guest or something at your booth and just, if there's a questions, maybe set some time aside, an hour or two or something, we come by and, be all dressed up all nice and talk to people.
Yeah. Yeah, we wouldn't have a problem being part of, like I said, like Jeff saying, part of your booth if you guys wanted to have us there as kind of a stand-in host to help you get integration.
That would be great. I would definitely say let's do that because we actually have a show from NAB. So we haven't released all of the information yet, but the whole back of our booth, which is in the front of Central Hall, which is a large enough booth to have partners join us, has a whole basically back end where we're doing live interviews with NewTek, with Wirecast, with vMix, and we would love for you to be part of that. So I'll connect with you guys after the show, maybe sometime before April, and we'll figure out
set that up.
Final question for you guys today from Living Waters. Does each computer need its own license?
So that will go back to the one-time purchase or the subscription license model. Okay. If you do a one-time purchase, there's two variations of that license. You can get the single computer license, which is only be able to be used on one computer for projection output. You could install it on other computers to build presentations or build your schedule, but it's only for one presentation output. That license goes for $399 for the one-time purchase. For $499, we offer the site license, which means you can install it on any number of computers as long as they're related to one geographical location, church, or entity to use it. So that's the one-time purchase. The subscription, another benefit to subscription is it's inherently a site license. So once again, if you have subscription, as long as you install it on computers related to that one geographical location, whether it's your house or the office or in the sanctuary or the youth room, that is included inside your license.
Great. Well, this was really informative.
This was so much fun. Thank you guys. I look forward to meeting you. I'm so glad we got to meet in person in Orlando, and I look forward to working with you more.
Great. Well, thank you, Paul. And we'll, like I said, we'll contact each other after this, and we'll talk about maybe doing something for NAB.
Yeah. Sounds awesome.
All right, guys. Have a great holiday.
Bye, guys. Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Have a happy holiday. Thanks for watching, everybody. That's our show. I know it went long, but I think a lot of you guys enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We got a lot of great shows coming up for 2019, but this is the last Back to Basics show for the year.
We'll see you. Well, we'll see you when we see you. Bye.
That's a no push podcast.